Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back to part 2 of today's show with no name here on Vaughn Radio. Welcome back to, I can't believe it, the second part of the show. It's great to be with you all, show with no namers. I'm telling you, it was nice to have some time off, but it's also nice to be back, which is a good thing. I think so. All right, well, in this part of the show, we're going to kick things off with our Say What soundbite for the second time. After that, we'll take a look at your pop quiz answers. We've got our spelling bee, we've got homophones, and so much more, amigos. So much to do in today's show. We're going to learn a lot of vocabulary, expressions, and structures, which we're going to take a look at as well. So, stay tuned. And after the show, you're going to want to stay tuned as well, because you've got Gretchen, and I've only spoken to her a handful of times, and every time it was, via WhatsApp. But I've got to say, I hate to judge people, but she seems like a truly amazing person. Well, hey, if you judge people in a positive way, it's a good thing. What we shouldn't do is prejudge people, because ahí viene prejudice, right? No, she is amazing, and I haven't even met her in person. And you guys can listen to Gretchen every day after our show here, the show with no name. All right, well, let's kick things off with the second listen of today's Say What soundbite.
The trick in this business, quite honestly, is to be able to sustain until you recycle, because ultimately everything gets a second chance. And so, I have photography, I have the chicken restaurants, and a bunch of other things that
Hey, Damian, what's crack-a-lackin', buddy?
Hey, Alberto, I was planning to do some sports this week. What about playing baseball?
Ooh, baseball. I love it. But I'm not sure yet. Can we touch base next week?
Touch base. Estamos en contacto, ¿no? Hablamos en algún momento. Yeah, okay. Let's touch base. Okay, what about basketball? Do you want to play basketball?
Oh, man, I love basketball. It's one of my favorite sports. But I don't know if I can this weekend, because I've already got plans. Oh, man, that's the way the ball bounces.
That's the way the ball bounces. Así están las cosas, ¿no? Así bota la pelota. Así bota la pelota. That's the way the ball bounces. I love that expression. Okay, what about tennis? Do you want to play tennis?
Well, I love tennis, but I'm not really a good player. If you don't mind playing with a novice, the ball's in your court, buddy.
La bola está en mi campo, ¿eh? La pelota está en mi tejado. All right. Do you want to play some soccer?
Sure, I'd love to play some soccer, or football, as you call it. What time do we kick off?
Perfect. We're kicking off at 9. Are you available?
Sure, but I might have to play some golf before with some friends. It's par for the course.
It's par for the course. Es lo normal, ¿no? Es lo normalito, lo que se hace. Okay, what about billiards? Do you like playing billiards?
Yeah, but right now I'm behind the 8 ball.
I'm behind the 8 ball. Estás detrás de la bola 8, como que llevas las de perder.
Yeah. Wow, a lot of idiomatic expressions here.
Muy buenas expresiones. Si es que así da gusto aprender inglés con un profe como Alberto y un poquito de creatividad, tienes This Book is the Shit. El mejor libro para aprender inglés que te has echado a la cara in your life. Píllatelo, vas a disfrutar mogollón de dibujos para que lo aprendas todo fácil, con conexiones lógicas y divertidas. Es la manera más sencilla y más divertida de aprender inglés. No te la pierdas.
Damian, you're such a good sport. Te enrollas. You can pick up your copy of This Book is the Shit at
Vaughantienda.com.
It's the shit. That's right, folks. This book is the shit. It's available at Vaughn Tienda, along with This Book is the Milk. This Book is the Milk, too. English Everywhere, and English on the Go. And those are just my 5 books. But right now, we're going to take a look at something from our pop quiz. And, well, these are structures I think everybody needs to know. And as show with no namers, I think many of you already know them. So let's take a look. Number 1, no puedo evitar hacer o no hacer algo. How do we say that? Do you want me to ask the king? No, not the king of Spain. Who cares? I'm talking about the real king, Elvis. Well, we can have a seance. A seance is cuando llamas a alguien del más allá, right? When they sit around in a circle. I don't care what the king of Spain has to say. What does he have to do with me? Now, Elvis, I've got to say his music changed my life. See? Who's my king? He's from Memphis. Well, actually, no. He's from Tupelo, que no se pronuncia así, se pronuncia Tupelo. Pero si lo ves, es Tupelo, Mississippi. Y vaya pelazo que tiene el tío, o que tenía. All right, well, you all know the song. Sing it. No puedo evitar enamorarme de ti. For I can't. Come on, you know it. Help falling in love with you. And the other day we learned from that song as well. I mean, who knew Elvis was going to be one of your English teachers? Remember we looked at the movie Fools Rush In? The one with Matthew Perry? Well, the first line of that song is that. Wise men say only fools rush in, for I can't help falling in love with you. All right, so you got two different ways to express things in English. To rush in, we looked at it. Tirarse cabeza, ir con prisas, no pensarlo bien. To rush in, right? And the other one, I can't help. Now, the mistake. Firstly, people say, I can't avoid to do this. No puedo. Avoid es evitar, pero eso no es una estructura que usaríamos. So there you would just say, I can't help listening to this music. Y fijaos, en español, no puedo evitar escuchar. En inglés es escuchando. So take note. And anytime you've got a doubt on how that structure is, just think of Elvis, who can't help falling, gerundio, in love. So I can't help enjoying these classes. I can't help enjoying ice cream. All right, I'm using the same verb, but you get it. What can't you help doing? Again, the best way to do it is think about your own personal experience, right? So, all right, let's see then. The second one, okay, debería haber. How would we use this structure? I should have. Eso es. I should have, pero que va después. Claro, por eso no nos vale siempre solo decir I should have. Okay. You should have what? Debería haber comido más sano. How do you say that? I should have. Fijaos, el have se convierte en of or a. Oirás muchos americanos decir I shoulda. Should have known better than to change your mind. Waste the chance that I can give them. No, I'm never gonna dance again. I should have known better than to dance. That's what I should have known better. I shoulda. So you can say shoulda or should have, pero ese a o of es realmente have cuando se vocaliza. Y se emplea con el participio. I should have gone earlier. I shoulda. I should have or shoulda. Nunca should have. Porque, como te digo, contraemos para un inglés más natural. You should have listened to her. Deberías haberle hecho caso. You should have listened to her. Should have, right? Make a list. You know what you can do? Just go to ChatGPT and put in list of verbs in English and practice. Practice with the irregular ones because those change, right? The third column is not the same. In regular verbs, the second and the third column are ed. So those are easier to write, not easier to pronounce. Usually, I find that most of my students have more trouble pronouncing regular verbs, right? I walked I talked, I needed, he acted. You know, I noticed people have more difficulty pronouncing them. Not how to, spelling them is easy. S-E-D, con un ed, it's regular, so it makes it easy, right? But the irregular verbs, it's just a matter of memorization. And how do you memorize them? Not take, took, taken. It's every day I take a shower. Yesterday I took a shower. Lately I've taken a lot of showers, right? So this way you're practicing the structure behind it. And a way that I practice this with my students, and it works really, really well. In fact, let's do it right here. Okay. So I'm going to say to you, I'm going to say, why didn't you? No, not why didn't you? I'm sorry I didn't. Me estoy mezclando de ejercicios aquí. So I'm going to say to you, I'm sorry I didn't hacer tal cosa. And you're going to tell me, deberías haberlo hecho. Okay? So I'm sorry I didn't take that into consideration. I'm sorry I didn't take that into consideration. Ahora te toca a ti decir, deberías haberlo tenido en cuenta. Okay, I'm sorry I didn't take that into consideration. You should have taken it into consideration. You should have, right? Should have or shoulda. You should have taken that into consideration. All right. I'm sorry I didn't hear you. Well, you should have heard me. Heard, right? Es la tercera columna. All right. I'm sorry I didn't drink the water. You shoulda or should have drunk the water. Debería saber, right? I'm sorry I didn't give you $1 million. Alberto, you should have given me $1 million. You should have. You didn't. You should have given me $1 million. I'm sorry I didn't meet you sooner. La última. I'm sorry I didn't meet you sooner. You should have met me sooner. Okay? So again, what we're doing here is not just debería haber, es should have. No, es practicarlo en uso. All right? That's how my daughter is speaking English so well, and she's got it already like second nature. In fact, a lot of times when we're out and people hear my daughter speaking English, they're like, where is she from? I'm like, Arturo Soria, USA. Well, she was born in a hospital near Arturo Soria, a famous area here in Madrid. But if you hear her speak English, you wouldn't think that. Not at all. Not at all. So, should have, más el participio, or should have. And the last one, well, let's look at the adjectives first, because this is where people tend to get confused. They say, loose that. Okay, loose es suelto, pero el verbo es loosen. Loosen the screw, and this way we can fix it. And then after, you have to tighten it. So loosen versus tighten. Loosen, and again, we take off the en at the end, and we've got loose and tight, los adjetivos. So siempre estamos construyendo sobre nuestras palabras, eliminando una letra y vemos como bossy. Okay, bossy es mandón. Quitas la Y es boss, jefe. Le pones around es boss around. Es mandar, ser un mandón. So in the end, you're taking that root and you're playing with it until you totally get it. So number one was I can't help, más el gerundio. Again, make a list, make it make sense. Las cosas que no puedes evitar. Okay? The next one, debería haber. I should have, más participio. Again, make a list of things you should have done and you didn't do. And the last one, loosen, tighten, are the verbs, which are often confused with the adjectives. Loose it, tight it. No, loosen it, tighten it. And once you loosen it, it'll be loose. Once you tighten it, it will be tighten. All right, excellent job. Show with no namers. Let's see. Chris says, hi again. I missed the pop quiz. No worries, but I could catch a bit of the Say What soundbite. She says an American man is talking about being able. I think that's what it says. I can't read it too well because I'm using a different now. Usually I stream via some streaming software. And today I'm streaming right on YouTube. So the comments are a little harder to read. Bear with me. So I could catch a bit of Show with No Name. An American man is talking about being able to sustain something until you recycle. Careful with your spelling of recycle. Es una Y al final. O sea, so recycle como motorcycle, bicycle, right? Ese último es una Y. Recycle. You need to recycle. No la última, la que está en medio. R-E-C-Y-C-L-E. And she says, giving a second chance. And he mentions photography. Great. Well, Chris, you got it. And she says, I can't help trying it. That's what I'm talking about. No puedo evitar intentarlo. All right, great job. German says, well, now I just think your computer's thermal paste was too old. Maybe it needs service. But how do you know that from there? I'm confused, German. How would you know that? Because when I look at the internet test and it says upload speed 0, I imagine it's that. I don't know. I could be wrong there. But it's clearly, maybe not. Maybe you're right. But I'm just curious where you came up with it. Because every time I do the test de velocidad, the internet speed test, when I start, it's usually at around 90 megabytes per second or something like that, which is okay. It's fine to stream. But then when I notice that it starts acting weird, in the middle of the show, I do another test, and I got one before that said upload speed 0.11, and I'm like, that's not even one. So I think it has to do with my internet connection. I don't know. Again, I'm not an expert here, but I'm just curious at how you came to that conclusion there, because maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. My computer's old AF. You know this one? My computer is old AF. My computer is old as fuck. But also, to keep it cool, I've got a fan on it. In the summer, I put a fan on it, un ventilador que le da directamente. And sometimes I even put ice blocks under it. These ones that you keep in the freezer, that you use with a cooler. These little ice packs. Yeah. Well, so it could be that maybe the thermal paste is too old. But I did just last year, I got a new battery and I did get some service on the computer. But all right, well, hey, I hope it's the internet, because that's my internet company is coming by to try and fix it, I guess today or tomorrow. So, but it's weird. You know what it is, German, and anybody who understands about this, it seems like the internet, the signal is not stable. So un minuto es, 100 megas, and the next minute it's like 4. And then it's 100 again, and then it goes back down to less than 1. So I imagine you need at least 1 megabyte to be able to stream. So, and who knows, maybe, German, maybe it's both things. Maybe it's a combo of the two. But either way, I have been troubleshooting, okay? And we looked at this word earlier this week, buscando la fuente para buscar la solución all week. And my wife, and let's put it this way, it has not been fun. The show has been a lot of fun, right? But the tech problems have not been. But again, I'm looking on the bright side, pensando en positivo. It's going to make me really appreciate when everything goes smoothly. O sea, cuando todo va súper bien, voy a celebrarlo, right? So for now, as I told you guys who are with us in the video, if it cuts out, there's nothing I can do until my internet service provider, my ISP, send a maintenance guy over. And we're working on that. But I've tried everything. Before I got them involved, I've kind of tried everything in my power. And I'll tell you something. As I said, it's not been fun dealing with the tech problems. But hey, it's par for the course. If you work with technology, you're going to have some problems from time to time. All I try to think about is the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of shows where I didn't have any problems, and the hundreds and hundreds of shows to come where I won't have any problems with the video as well. So let's see. Chris says, I should learn more about YouTube, the internet, and all that jazz. Well, yeah, it's kind of a hot topic these days, you know, knowing the basics of YouTube, because I know personally, I mean, I spend a lot more time on YouTube than watching TV, like traditional TV. And then if you count my streaming, well, that's 10 hours a week that I'm live on YouTube. Right. So I should know about it. And I thought I did, but my internet connection, again, is not stable. It comes and goes, right? It ebbs and flows, in order to use the correct vocabulary. To ebb and flow, it's like the tide, como la marea. It ebbs and flows. So again, sometimes it's telling me, let's see, the last test I did, for those of you who understand, was 8350. 83 download, 50 upload. And that's more than enough to live stream. But then when it cuts out and the video stops automatically, because when the video cuts out, I don't touch anything. It just cuts out automatically. So I guess what happens there is the internet cuts out as well. And then usually when I do the test, then it won't even do the test. Ni siquiera se conecta al test. So, yeah. Hey, guys, again, that's not the important part. The important part is getting through the show, giving you guys all the content that I've prepared for you, and having fun together. And we'll sort this out sooner or later. As I said, I'll be looking back at this and laughing. So, as I said, the only thing it's really going to affect is the live stream on the video. All right. So if it cuts out and then it, completely, stops the live stream, there's nothing I can do there. Okay. But again, you can always listen to the audio, because the audio is recorded on a different source, and that's on purpose. All right, let's see what we've got over here. German says, it's just my opinion, AA. It's impossible to know for sure from here. Well, I was just curious at how you reach that opinion. Because if the what is it called? If the thing is the thermal paste is gone, it makes the audio cut. I don't understand it really. But I think we found the problem. That's why I said you should have internet that doesn't change speeds so much, so drastically. One thing is it tells you 70 megabits per second, and then the next time it tells you 90. That's not bad. But when it's 90 and then 1 or 0, that's when it's like, wait, it shouldn't be that low ever. I understand that it can fluctuate. I get that, but not such highs and lows. Maybe I'm wrong there too. Hey, German, this is just what I know from spending the last week trying to deal with this problem here. So hopefully we will get this sorted out, and the video won't cut out in the future. Let's see. German says, yes, it's impossible to know from here. Okay, yeah. Also, I can't help telling you, you should have eaten 2 more tacos. Oh, good. You use both in one. I can't help it. Mas el gerundio, and you should have. Great job, guys. See, those are my students that even if we're having problems with the video, the live stream, they're still there doing the exercises and all the different challenges I've got. And speaking of challenges, we've got a lot more challenges up ahead, my amigos. That's right. In the second half of today's show, we've just flown through part 1. I can't believe it. No, part 1 and part 2. Jeez Louise. All right. Well, when we come back, we're going to take a look at our news report. We've got our Say What soundbite again as well. We've got spelling bee, homophones, double trouble, and so much more. So if I were you guys, I wouldn't even think of going anywhere. Say it with me. Stick around. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back. This is part 3. Jesus. Really, folks. Thank you for making this time fly by. And despite the tech problems, I got to tell you something. We're making it happen. We're pulling it off. You know this phrasal verb? To pull it off, lograr algo difícil. And that's another thing. I think if I can do the show with all these tech distractions, just imagine a day where I have 0 distractions. I'm going to be on fire. All right, folks. Well, as I said, in this part of the show, we're going to take a look at our Say What soundbite. Then we've got our homophones. In fact, I think I'm going to give you homophones first. So we've got homophones. We've got our Say What soundbite. Then we're going to take a look at some reviews. That's right. New section. Plus, we've got double trouble and so much more. All right, amigos. So why don't we kick off with the section where, well, we take a look at words that tend to be a bit confusing. You know it as homophones on the show with no name.
Homophones on the show with no name. It's homophones time, cause homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. The show with no name. Homophones on the show with no name. Cause homophones time, it's homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. The show with no name. The show with no name. The show with no name.
That's right, amigos. It's homophones only on the show with no name. And let's take a look at today's words and see if they sound the same or not. All right. The first word we've got today is the word lona, I think you say. Lona? Let's see if I can open a web page. It seems really difficult today. Lona o cañamazo. I never knew that one. Lienzo también. Okay. So the word is lona. It's something that an artist, a painter, uses to paint on. All right. So that is the first word. Lona, cañamazo. I never heard that. And lienzo. I've heard lona and lienzo. All right. And the second word is hacer campaña. Okay. También puede ser sondear, encuestar. So, hacer campaña o sondear, encuestar. Okay. And again, we'll look at it in context as we always do. All right. There you go, folks. The first word is, again, lienzo, lona, and that other weird word I hadn't heard before. And the second word is hacer campaña barra sondear. All right, those are your homophones words. Also, I'm going to give you your Say What soundbite. Here it is for the third time.
The trick in this business, quite honestly, is to be able to sustain until you recycle, because ultimately everything gets a second chance. And so, I have photography, I have the chicken restaurants, and a bunch of other things that
¿Qué tiene que ver la Universidad de Oxford con Vaughan? Pues muchísimo. Es una alegría anunciar que Vaughan ha sido certificado como centro examinador de Oxford Test of English. A partir del próximo mes de marzo 2023, podrás hacer los exámenes de Oxford Test of English en los centros de Vaughan. Si quieres más información sobre esta iniciativa de Vaughan y Oxford, puedes ver más en nuestra página web, grupovaughan.com. O bien síguenos en redes sociales para más información. Oxford Test of English con Vaughan.
Brilliant!
That's right. It's the Oxford Test of English with Vaughn. And if you have any questions about that or any of our initiatives, you can feel free to reach out via social media. You can find us at Grupo Vaughn, and we are on all kinds of different platforms. You can find us on Facebook, on Instagram, on X, on LinkedIn, and also on YouTube. All right, let's see. Born to Iron Man has given us the two words, and they are correct. And he says they sound alike. All right. Let's see. Chris Valrol gives us the two words, and she says they're homophones as well, along with German. So that's three super show with no namers saying yeah. All right, I'll tell you what. These words are definitely homophones. You know how I know? Because I, as a native speaker, used to think they were the same word. Yeah. Because remember, native speakers, usually you hear the word, you don't see it written, Just like when I first heard the expression when I was a kid, you're going to bawl your eyes out. Well, para mí, bawl era B-A-L-L. Y seguro que si lo preguntas a muchos americanos, te van a decir que es B-A-L-L. Pero it's not. It's B-A-W-L. Bawl, llorar a mares, right? To bawl your eyes out. So again, this is one of those where I was like, eso no es. Oh, okay. I thought it was the same word. So let's see how they're pronounced. The first word, canvas. Well, the second word too, if they're homophones. So let's pronounce them. Canvas. It's not canvas. It's canvas. Esa A no es una A. All right, say it with me. Say it aloud. A painter paints, Rob Grams paints on a canvas, right? And usually, if you work for a political party, for example, well, you go out and you try and convince people to vote for you or to vote for your candidate. And this is what we call to canvass the area. Okay, I'm going to canvass this neighborhood and you canvass the other one. The difference is canvass así, hacer campaña, sondear, encuestar, ir de puerta a puerta. That one has two S's, but they're pronounced exactly the same. Again, so much that when I first heard these words as a youngster, I was like, oh, canvas. So it's the same word. No, just an extra S, but they are pronounced exactly the same. So to canvas the area, and a painter paints on a canvas. Wonderful job. Born to Iron Man, Chris and German. All right, folks, it's time for one of our news sections. It is our news report.
This is the news report on the show with no name.
bringing you the latest breaking news. I'm Alberto Alonso, reporting live. All right, folks, welcome to our news report where we take a look at some odd news. All right, well, there are some weird names out there. You know, some are very original and some are just downright cruel. Cruel. Yeah, if you name your kid, I don't know, Abracadabra, that's not nice. You're not thinking about the that kid being teased, vacilado. Well, in Cordoba, not in Spain, in Colombia. Cordoba, Colombia, a baby was born and was registered with the name, are you ready for this? Chat YPT, not GPT, YPT. That's right, escrito Y-I-P-I-T-I. Now, her full name, this poor baby girl, poor girl, her full name is Chat YPT Bastidas Guerra. Now, this happened recently, as I said, and, well, they say in Colombia it's legal. That name is legal, and you can really register whatever name you want. The only thing is, they can turn you down, te pueden negar, if they believe that it's, mocking, de burla, or, you're going to affect that kid's dignity, which in this case, I don't know why they didn't stop them, but they let it go. It flew. Coló. And now there is a kid in Colombia named Chat YPT Bastidas Guerra. But that's not the only name like that. We've seen a lot of weird names on the internet. Have you ever seen Usnavi? Yeah, U.S. Navy. Yeah. Usnavi is a name. What about Iloveni? I love New York. I'm not kidding, folks. Pero esta ya es cruel. Chat YPT. It's not even Chat GPT. It's Chat YPT. And of course, the parents said, well, it's a tribute to the technology. Yeah, but don't use the kid. Build a statue if you want. Poor kid. Kid's going to have problems. But they okayed it. They greenlit it. Le dieron la luz verde ahí en Colombia. Some names you can find around the world. Real names. Other wacky names. Batman bin Superman. And Superman spelt Superman. Oh, God. Poor guy. I mean, I love Batman and I love Superman, but I would never name my kid that. So, Batman bin Superman. Also, there are some twins in the United States, and one of the twins was named Abracadabra. The other one, Alakazam. Now, that's weird. Yeah, you don't think those kids are going to be teased? You don't think those kids are going to be picked on? Oh, my goodness. Abracadabra and Alakazam. I guess the parents are magicians or big fans of magic. But still, then change your own name. Don't make the kid have to carry the name. Jeez Louise. I love this one. Brock Lee and cauliflower. These are twins as well. You get it? Brock. That's a good name. I like the name Brock. But they gave the kid the name Brock Lee. Broccoli. And cauliflower. Cauliflower. Man, that's cruel. I don't care how much you like vegetables. Don't call your kids vegetables. Now, in the United States, we do have a list of some names that are not allowed. And those names are names that are illegal. You cannot name your children this in the United States. King. Rey. Yeah, you can't name your kid King. Obviously, you can't name your kid Queen then either. You're not allowed to name your kid Jesus Christ. Makes sense. You also can't use any names with numerals in them. So you can't put like Eric con un tres, o con exclamación. Santa Claus. Sorry, guys. If you were thinking about calling your kid Santa Claus, it's off limits. Also, Majesty. That's what I call my daughter. Daddy? Yes, Your Majesty. Yes, Your Highness. But you can't name them that. You can nickname them whatever you want. This one makes sense. Adolf Hitler. Yeah, if you do that, I don't know. Poor kid, poor you. Adolf Hitler. Messiah. Yeah, you're not allowed to name your kid Messiah either. You're not allowed to name your kid at arroba. Now, the fact that they have to actually make a list just goes to show you how screwed up some parents can be. There it is, folks. You thought you heard every name in the book. Now you know you've got ChatGPT. Not G, como se dice, pero sino Yi. ChatGPT. What a wonderful name. Poor kid. All right, well, my amigos, we've got to move on, though, from our news report because it's time for today's Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. All right, my amigos. It is our Spelling Bee here on the show with no name. We all know what round one is like. It is hellish. But don't worry, you get 2 chances to get all of our Spelling Bee words. So hopefully you guys will be able to figure them out. A couple comments before we get into the Spelling Bee. Chris says, oh my God, ChatGPT? Yeah, those, I don't believe in violence, but those parents should be shot. Disparados. There's no doubt in my mind they should be shot. Let's see. Chris says, what about Maverick Vinales? I hadn't heard it, but even so, Maverick, I don't even think that's as bad as ChatGPT. Maverick sounds cool. Mav. Hey, Mav. You coming, Mav? At least in English, it doesn't sound too bad. Guess inconformista, right? And I imagine it's a tribute to the one and only Tom Cruise in Top Gun. So Maverick Vinales, I like it. Not as bad as ChatGPT or Usnavi, right? Let's see. Germán says, siempre he pensado que Chachi Piruli es Chat GPT. Born to Iron Man says it shows their parents' personality or lack of, judgment, juicio. Like, again, you want to celebrate, like, I love roller coasters. Great. You think I'm going to name my daughter Roller Coaster because I like roller coasters? That's insane, right? You're already trying to put your interests and your things into the child, right? So, yes, it does say a lot about parents and their personalities or lack thereof, o carencia de, perdona. Germán says, bueno, creo que en México hay gente que les ponía Anivrev a sus hijos porque así viene en el calendario. Aniversario de la Revolución. Oh, my God. Anivrev. That's not a really good one, is it? Born to Iron Man says, in Spain, you cannot name a kid Cain, which is Cain. You can't name a kid Cain, Stalin, Lucifer, or Judas. Pooh, Spawn, or Madman. Makes sense, but the problem is, again, we shouldn't have to tell you this, parents. I mean, there should be some names that you just don't want to name your kids because you don't want your kids to be made fun of. Que nadie se burle de ellos. I mean, you got to think a little bit, right? I'm not saying you got to be a brain surgeon or a rocket scientist, but come on, use your heads, folks. You're going to, especially these days when, there's a lot of talk about bullying and making fun of other kids, now more than ever, give your kid a normal name. And it doesn't have to be, again, the debate is this. One thing is originality and one thing is just inappropriate or bad taste, right? I'm all for originality. Apoyo la originalidad. But if you name your kid, Jesus Hitler, you got a serious problem. And unfortunately, you're putting that problem on your kids, right? And that stinks. So, all right, my amigos, there you go. That's your news report. And now it's time for one of our news sections called Real Reviews.
First of all, what went through my mind is how stupid am I to actually volunteer for this?
Real reviews.
Real Reviews found online.
Real reviews.
It was unbelievably painful.
All right, folks. Well, the other day we took a look at some reviews from a famous Spanish eatery. Well, today we're going to take a look at a famous, or should I say infamous, low-cost carrier. That's another way of saying a low-cost airline. Another way we say airline is carrier. Now, again, in this section, we're generally going to focus on bad reviews because that's when people really write from their heart. Think about it. When you get a review like pues su padre y su hijo, you're like, whoa, okay, you really, really thought about this one. And again, the reason here, well, to be entertained by reading these crazy reviews, but also by learning vocabulary associated with each thing, such as eateries or flying on carriers or airlines. So I won't say the name, but I think most of you know which one I'm talking about. There are a few that are infamous, but there's one that takes the cake, que se lleva la palma. And I'm not going to say it, but yes, you know which one it is. All right. So the review, I've got two here. One that's a little bit longer and then one that's short and sweet. But I think it sums everything up. And again, remember, when I'm looking for these reviews, I'm looking for native people, not translated reviews. So we're getting that real vocabulary that people use when they're pissed off. All right. So this review says, do not fly with Alpha Air. I'm going to call it Alpha. Okay. Just to change the name. Do not fly with Alpha Air. And do not in caps, in mayúscula. When I was 33 weeks pregnant, flying to London on a hot summer day, they wouldn't give me water. Oh boy. It was hot. I was nearly fainting. To faint is desmayarse. To faint or to pass out, right? It's to lose consciousness. So she says, it was hot. I was nearly fainting, but no. If I wanted to drink, I had to pay an obscene amount of money for it. I did not. Pues yo elegí no hacerlo. Never again. You see that a lot in negative posts. Nunca jamás, right? Never again. She says, the flights may seem cheap, parecen baratos, but they screw you over. Now, screw you over is another way of saying to fuck you over. Te lo tengo que traducir, es te joden, right? Como en alto y claro ahí. Pero screw over es un poco más suave que fuck over. Okay? So she says, the flights may seem cheap, but they screw you over with any amount of luggage you want to take. So she's complaining, A, they wouldn't give a pregnant woman a glass of water. That could almost be criminal, right? Especially if something happens to the woman. She does end up passing out or something similar. And she says they screw you over with the luggage. And I'm convinced these days, a lot of these airlines make more money off of luggage, right? Checked luggage than they do with, what is it called? Than they do with the actual flights, than they do with the tickets, right? So I think that's always quite strange there. And she says, fly with a normal airline whose offers are transparent and clear. And then she says, Ryanair likes to screw you over any chance they get. Never again. So in case you didn't realize it, I just said the name of the company. Oops. Well, I'm not the only one who believes that. And again, this is not my review. But the word that she said there a few times is to screw somebody over. And that literally means that you've fucked somebody. I mean, I don't know you've done bad. You've done a really bad job there. The other one is short and sweet, but I also got it for that reason. This person says, how does this airline exist? Are there not government oversight committees on airlines and consumer rights in the UK? What a joke. Vaya broma. So, como existe, how does this airline exist? They're asking if there's any oversight. Oversight are ones that supervise airlines or any entity. An oversight committee is one who is always paying attention to see if you are following the rules. And consumer rights, well, that's kind of like your, no sé cómo lo llamáis, en inglés, en Estados Unidos, it's the Better Business Bureau. And that's if you have a problem as a consumer, you can go to these agencies and you can, state your case and hopefully something will get done. But it seems like this airline, I don't know how, but they're still there. They're still filling planes and but they're still getting these reviews. In fact, I think their average review was like a 1.5 stars. That is really, really bad. All right, amigos, we're taking a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with the fourth and final part of the show. So stick around. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back. This is the fourth and final part of today's show with no name. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh, yeah, you guys are telling me I forgot the spelling bee. As I said, I'm very distracted. Even though you can't tell, not having a stable internet connection sucks. So you'll have to bear with me. Un poco de paciencia conmigo. Or, as I said, the other option is I just shut off the video and just do the show. So whatever you guys want, I'm easy. I'm just hoping that this will be sorted out ASAP. But it makes things a lot more distracting for me when things are like that. So again, apologies and bear with me, please. All right, in this part of the show, we'll kick things off with our Double Trouble. Then we've got our Say What soundbite. Then, as promised, I'll give you the spelling bee. After our spelling bee, oh shit, we got a lot of stuff to do here. We've got movies, jokes, famous birthday. We're not going to have time for everything, but we'll try. We'll do what we can. And I hope you guys are liking the new sections as well. Just to have a little variety, we brought in 4 new sections, and you can catch them all as the news report we do every day. But the other 3, which are the real reviews, your wacky world records, and life hacks, will alternate. So if today you had reviews, well, tomorrow you'll have a life hack, or you'll have a wacky world record. Again, these are all just fun, interesting things to look at, and we can extract English from them like we do with our Name That Movie or our Name That Lyric or our Double Trouble. And speaking of, let's do it.
Double trouble, baby. Yeah, you know what time it is. Give it up. Double trouble. I said double trouble. Double trouble. I said double trouble.
That's right, amigos. It is Double Trouble here on the Show with No Name. And let's see what we've got for today's Double Trouble. Now, this one, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to give it to you because we don't have time to, nitpick here. To nitpick is como, esto es tal, esto no. So we're going to go right into it. Here you go, amigos. The good thing, I think you use this word in Spanish. Es un anglicismo que creo que vosotros conocéis muy, muy bien. Okay, here we go. Van a hacer un homenaje cómico al hombre que hizo el asado. There you go. Van a hacer un homenaje cómico. Esto es cuando se burlan de ti, pero en plan cómico, right? It's kind of like they tease you, hablando de los nombres antes en el news report. They tease you, they make fun of you, they pick on you. Si no habéis apuntado antes, to tease, to make fun of, to pick on, vacilar, meterte con, okay? So, but in a joking way, okay? And I think, again, I've heard this word in Spanish as well. So, van a hacer un homenaje cómico, ¿no? Al hombre que hizo el asado. You have to use the same word twice. We'll see if somebody can figure it out. Also, let me give you the Say What soundbite for the fourth and final time.
The trick in this business, quite honestly, is to be able to sustain until you recycle, because ultimately everything gets a second chance. And so, I have photography, I have the chicken restaurants, and a bunch of other things that.
Do you mean business with your English? ¿Vas en serio? Well, if you don't have Kyle Miller's book, Business English, then you are missing out. Kyle's not only an English teacher, but he holds an MBA, and he will guide you through the ins and outs of business and the English language, all while having fun. Business English by Kyle Miller is the most complete English resource available. And it comes with audio and video. Pick up a copy of Kyle Miller's Business English. That is, if you mean business. Available at vontienda.com.
All right, amigos. That's Kyle Miller, and you can catch him every day on Drive Time. All right, let's see if anybody figured out this double trouble. Born to Iron Man says they are going to roast the man who roasted, all right, or who made the roast, right? To make es preparar, hacer. Remember, in the kitchen, we don't usually say, I'm going to do a pasta. No, I'm going to make some pasta. Although I have heard some British people use do in that way. But in the United States, we generally use make. So they're going to roast the man who roasted, or the guy who made the roast, que es parecido a lo que tengo aquí. So excellent job, Born to Iron Man. Yeah. They call it a roast, right? A roast. It's very common in the United States. Once they're celebrating their career, especially a comedian, they roast that person, or they have a roast. O sea, que se puede usar como verbo o sustantivo. So they're going to roast the guy who made the roast, que hizo el asado. Excellent job, Born to Iron Man. And now we'll do the section you've been waiting for. I know, I got you all excited about it, and then I skipped it. All right, here we go. This is your spelling bee. This is round one. Good luck. Round one is not for the faint of heart. Round two, you should all be able to figure out. Here we go. The first one is ART space Theft. The second one is Mona space Lisa. The third one is Louvre, comma, space Paris. The fourth one is Vincenzo, space Peruggia. The fifth one, LA space JOCONDE. And the last one is LA space again, let me give you the sixth one again. LA space GIOCONDA. Whew, me ha costado a mí, eh? Oh, man. It's difficult for me to go that fast. So if you were able to get that, I've got to give it up for you. Let's see. I'll give you another minute or so, and then we'll go into round two. Going one. Hang on. There's Born to Iron Man. He wastes no time. He is fast AF. Fast as fuck. All right, let's see. You can say as hell también y no es tan ofensivo como as fuck. Pero verás muchas veces AF después de algo. Y eso es ísimo, right? He's fast as fuck. Rapidísimo. I know, it's a little more vulgar than ísimo. Bueno, pero ahora, si lo ves por internet, AF, ya sabes qué significa. All right. Let's see. Born to Iron Man. The first one's correct, sir. The second one's correct. The third one's correct. The fourth, fifth, and sixth one. Unfreaking believable. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Born to Iron Man. Also, Chris Valrol. Wow. You guys are back and ready to rock. I love it. Awesome. Awesome sauce, as we say in the United States. Salsa molona, which means guay. Awesome sauce. Give it up for Born to Iron Man and Chris Valrol. All right, let's see if anybody can join them in the winner's circle here in round two. Now, again, round two, this is for all levels. Creo que cualquier nivel que no sea principiante should be able to get these words. Okay, here we go. The first one, ART space THEFT. The next one, MONA space LISA. The third one, LOUVRE, comma, space PARIS. The fourth one, VINCENZO space PERUGGIA. The fifth one, LA space JOCONDE. And the last one, LA space GIOCONDA. All right, those are your words. Again, congratulations to Born to Iron Man and Chris Valrol for getting them on the first go. Excellent. That's excellent, guys. What a good way to kick off our spelling bee. And yesterday, Born to Iron Man got them. Even though it was the video was cutting out. I don't know how you did it yesterday, man. I don't know still to this day. All right. Well, these words all had to do with art theft. Not easy to say. Art theft. Robo de arte. Art theft. That was the first word. In fact, the reason I chose it is because one of the most popular masterpieces in the whole world, the Mona Lisa, was stolen today in 1911. That's right, 1911 by Vincenzo Peruggia. Vincenzo Peruggia was number 4 in our spelling bee. And he was a Louvre employee, un empleado del Louvre, right? So number 1 was art theft. Number 2 was Mona Lisa. That's what we call it in English. Number 3, the Louvre, Paris. Number 4, the employee who stole it, Vincenzo Peruggia. Number 5 was La Joconde. Pardon my French pronunciation. La Joconde, the smile, I believe in French. And in Italian, La Gioconda. We need Laura here. We need Laura here to confirm La Gioconda. You got to extend your syllables there. And again, these were all related to the Mona Lisa being stolen in 1911 today by this man. And yeah, I mean, even though he got caught and all that jazz, I mean, doesn't that sound cool? Who are you? I'm the guy who stole the Mona Lisa. Whoa! How'd you do that? Jeez. All right. Excellent job in our spelling bee, amigos. I am over the moon with how fast you guys got that, and you got it on the first go. All right. It's time for another section. It's Name That Movie. Name That Movie. All right, amigos, welcome to Name That Movie. All right, here we go. Let's get right into it, because as we know, time is of the essence here. A man's personality is dramatically changed after surviving a major airline crash. So again, a man's personality, you can say a or a man or a man, right? Because sometimes people say, he is a very interesting, a and there are two different pronunciations and both are accepted. So a man's personality or a man's personality is dramatically changed after surviving a major airline crash. There you go. Hey, we were talking about airlines before in our real review section. And we talked about getting charged extra for suitcases, being denied a glass of water when you're about to give birth. So, yeah. Hey, sometimes, you want to save money up front, and in the end, you're spending more money. I remember it all the time. I used to catch the 6 a.m., as we call it, the red eye, right? And then I thought to myself, I'm like, save $20. Me ahorré 20 euros. And then I thought, how am I going to get to the airport? The metro's closed. Oh, I guess I have to take a 35 euro taxi. Oh, shit. Didn't think about that before, did you? Then you're thinking, well, I could have taken the metro if I had gone and saved money. Anyway, sometimes trying to save money, we end up spending more. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a winner. She's got it. Our movie queen. She is, and the name of the movie is Fearless. Fearless. It's a movie that came out in 1993, and it stars Jeff Puentes, Jeff Bridges, Isabella Rossellini, and it was directed by Peter Weir. Awesome movie there called Fearless. So let's take a look at the scene from the movie. Carla says, "This is a German car? Esto es un coche alemán." And Max says, "Swedish." Sueco. Swedish. And Carla says, "It's very sturdy." And sturdy is fuerte. No, if something's sturdy, if a table is sturdy, it's not going to fall over. It's not flimsy. The opposite is flimsy. Something that's, esto va a caer en un segundo. If something's sturdy, it's strong, right? It can take a hit. It'll stay where it is. It's sturdy. I think fornido was a word I've heard before. Maybe I'm making it up. Let's see if my internet wants to work. Sturdy, robusto, fuerte, fornido. Hey, ¿ves? A veces se te quedan algunas cosas ahí. So it's very sturdy. Great word to know if you didn't know it. And then Max says, it's a very safe car. A very safe car. And I'm an excellent driver. I've never been in an accident. I've never been in an accident. Well, at least not while behind the wheel. And remember, the wheel no es la rueda de abajo, sino the steering wheel, right? Muchas veces decimos, grab the wheel. No significa la llanta. Esa rueda. So just know that a lot of times we'll just take the word steering out and we'll just say wheel. So not while behind the wheel. but even strapped in, and to be strapped in is to have your seatbelt on. But even strapped in to all of this marvelous technology of the reinforced doors and roof, we could still get crushed. And the word crushed is aplastado. There you go, folks. Those are your movies. Well, movie, I should say. That is your movie because it's only one movie. It's Fearless. It came out in 1993. And as I said, congrats to Chris Valrol, our movie queen, for figuring it out. But now it's time to move on to You're Joking.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, what did the guy say when he walked into the bar? Ouch. Ouch. You get it? Ouch. He walked into the bar. You're joking.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a look at what we've got here, and let's see if you get today's jokes. Real simple. This is probably the easiest section on the show every day. So what did the canvas say to the paint? What did the canvas say to the paint? Okay. Are you ready? Don't brush me off. Brush, pincel, paintbrush. Don't brush me off. You get it? Well, to brush somebody off is pasar de largo a little bit. You're not giving any importance to what they say, right? To barely mention someone, right? She brushed me off before. To brush off. And remember, that word brush has a lot of other meanings, right? Brush your teeth, right? And what was the other one? To brush off, I was just saying. I was thinking of another one, and I can't think of it now. I can't remember the other one. Well, there are many, many meanings of... Oh, yeah, esa es. To brush up on. Eso es repasar algo. I need to brush up on my English. I'm not going to brush it off, okay? And it means, again, to disregard, menospreciar, ningunear, no mencionar, no dar el crédito, to brush somebody off. You get it now? All right, next one. What is an artist's motto? ¿Qué es el eslogan de cualquier artista? Let's paint the town red. No? Let's paint the town red. Vamos a pintar el pueblo rojo. Okay, but what does that mean? It is another way of saying, vamos a salir a darlo todo. Last night we went out and we painted the town red. Lo dimos todo. Salimos a tope. You get it now? To paint the town. All right, last one. Did you see the display of still life? You know what still life is? I think you say bodegón or something. Still life. Vamos a ver cómo lo llamáis. Still life. Bodegón. Naturaleza muerta. ¿No? Cuando tienes como una fruta, un tal, right? It's kind of a picture of life as it is. Okay. Well, now that we know that, did you see the display of still life at the gallery? Oh, yeah. It wasn't at all moving. No se movió en absoluto. No era nada conmovedor. It wasn't at all moving. It was, o sea, no se movió. Era still life, como lo llamamos. And it wasn't, no me conmovió, no me dijo nada. Hey, I thought those were really good jokes, folks. All right, it's time to move on to famous birthday trivia.
Famous birthdays for you. Famous birthdays for me. Famous birthdays for everyone on the show with no name. Famous birthdays for him. Famous birthdays for her. Famous birthdays for everyone on the show with no name.
That's right, amigos. It is famous birthdays. All right, we're going to rock and roll through this. Number one, the lead singer of The Clash. There you go. Should I stay or should I go now? If I stay, there will be trouble. And his last name is Rasguñador. So alguien que toca la guitarra. It's a perfect name for a rock star. Yes, that's right. A guy who was born today in 1952. He died in 2002 and was known as the leader of The Clash. Number two, this director was born in 1944 in Australia. He directed Dead Poets Society, Fearless, today's name that movie, so I already said his name, The Truman Show, Master and Commander, and much more. And last but not least, this is the country singer. I love this guy. And he was probably one of the greats. I think, many country artists these days would say, without this guy, none of us would be here. And my favorite song of his is, You Got to Know When to Hold 'em. Know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, and know when to run. You never count your money. When you're sitting at the table, there'll be time enough to count it. When the dealing's done, you got to know when to hold. Come on, everybody, sing it. We've got a winner, Chris Valrol. Number one, Joe Strummer. Number two, Peter Weir. And number three, Kenny Rogers. And great effort to Chris in our Say What soundbite. This is Kenny Rogers. That's right, Kenny Rogers. And let's see what he says here. Now, he got a Southern accent, so I imagine it's a little bit more difficult than a normal one. But he says, well, the trick in this business, quite honestly, is to be able to sustain el truco en este negocio, show business. He goes, until you recycle, because ultimately everything gets a second chance. What he's saying is style comes back. Rock and roll is not popular, then it comes back again. Bell bottoms, with fashion, with everything. It cycles. So he says everything gets a second chance. He goes, I have photography, tengo la fotografía. I have the chicken restaurants, which, by the way, Kenny Rogers Roasters. Hey, we looked at the word roast today. Was that on purpose? Yes, it was. So Kenny, he's got this chicken restaurant called Kenny Rogers Roasters and a bunch of other things, as he said, saying that he keeps busy. Here he is, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Kenny Rogers.
The trick in this business, quite honestly, is to be able to sustain until you recycle, because ultimately everything gets a second chance. And so, I have photography, I have the chicken restaurants and a bunch of other things that
All right, amigos, wonderful job as always. It's been an absolute pleasure spending this 2-hour period with you, teaching you, learning, laughing, sharing. So I thank you so much, and I hope you'll join us tomorrow. Stay tuned. You've got Gretchen up next. Thanks again, amigos. Ciao for now.